Hello and welcome back to Stick to Fitness, brought to you by myself, Hymsuen, and my co-host, Archie. And I'm sure I speak for everyone of our listeners when I say abs are great, but who doesn't like them? But have you tried Roosters? This episode of Stick to Fitness is sponsored by Roosters. Back in our competing days when prepping for the British finals, our nutrition was strict. We used to grow up prepping with Eddie Abu, eating mainly eggs and unflavoured raw chicken. I wish we had something like Roosters back then. Roosters is a game changer. Marinated for 24 hours, steam cooked and grilled to order. And not only that, they also include beef burgers made from 99% British beef, just like ourselves. So with today's sponsor out of the way, we're tackling the million-calorie question. Is it possible to lose weight while still eating the food that you love? What do you think, Archie? What do you think of our new sponsors?
Do you think you're 99% British? That was my first thought.
Some part of it.
I think you can. I think in this day and age, there's so much more information available and variety that you could, whether it be the best option for you, might be up for debate. But I think you can definitely be more flexible with what you're eating. And still achieve your fitness goals.
What do you think is the biggest misconception that people have around food? Like,
if I eat this food once, it's bad for me. Or this food, or this is a good food and this is a bad food.
Yeah, I think
it's all just food. It's all calories. It's all the same.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're going to shit it out your ass, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
It's still wild that today people do not see nutrition as, it's not just calories, but calories is a big component of why things make you fat and why they don't, right? I just don't understand where that concept comes from.
It's that whole like, this is good for me and this is bad for me. So if you have a 100-calorie banana or 100 calories worth of chocolate, the banana's the good option and the chocolate's the bad option.
But it's still 100 calories. You know what I mean? I just don't understand why.
And what would you rather have? Chocolate.
Depends, right? If I've just had like 2,000 calories worth of chocolate, I'm going to pick banana, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're like, say like it's after dinner or something, you've got 100 calories left to spare, I'd rather have the chocolate than the banana. But the banana's the healthy option. It's still 100 calories.
That's it. But yeah, it's just, there's a lot of fear mongering, right? I think we got two camps as well, right? There's people where like, you shouldn't eat shit, like the Eddie Abu, right? You shouldn't eat shit. Right?
Yeah.
Or I don't actually know if he thinks this way, but does he think that you can't lose weight eating shit? I think he's just a big believer of healthy eating. Right?
Healthy eating.
I don't necessarily think you can't lose fat doing that. I don't know actually.
I'm unsure. We'll have to fact check that.
Anyway, but yeah, two camps of people where you shouldn't eat shit, right? You can't lose weight eating shit, and people where they're like flexible dieting, right? So I don't know. Yeah, why did flexible dieting, or if it fits your macro, why did that get so popular? What even is it?
Because I think it just gave people more option. I think to like what you're saying about the different ends of the spectrum. I think in terms of calories, there's people that are too obsessed with their calories, and then there's people that are not obsessed at all about how many calories are in whatever, and just
eat whatever you want, as long as it's healthy.
Yeah, and it's like kind of need to be in the middle.
Yeah,
you need to still have that awareness around what you're eating, yes, but also how much you're eating, because I always go back to like Weight Watchers and this whole zero sin thing. And rice and potatoes are zero sins. So on paper, according to them, you can eat as much as you like because it's not a sin.
Because was it you that said about the banana? If it's mashed up, it's like no sins. If you eat it whole, it's sins. It's like, I don't get it.
Why? Because like, you burn calories mashing it like this.
Where's that come from them? Like,
but it's not. It's just what they think. It's a marketing scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, but you still got to market things off something real.
Imagine you were told you could lose weight and eat as many potatoes as you want. And rice. And you love rice.
Yeah.
Chinese people love rice.
We need rice.
No racism intended. But that's it, isn't it? So it's just about whatever suits your narrative. But this whole that whole sin thing, I just can't get my head around it. I've never understood it ever. But it works for some people.
Does it though? Is it where some people, what if they actually did what it said? Like, oh, if I
Well, yeah, but you'd have to be taking the mick. If I did it, for example, I'd gain weight and be like, it's not working.
It's not working.
What are you doing?
Well, you're sinning too much.
But I would go through the whole day of 0 sins, but I'd be full for the whole day because I'd have so many potatoes.
Bare mashed up bananas.
Yeah, so much. Like literally, I don't get how it works, but it works for some people, so I guess you can't knock it. But I guess the sins...
It's just luck of the draw, I think.
But I guess sins is just another example of calories, isn't it? Yeah. So I guess they're calculating that if you have this many sins, you're going to have this many calories.
But then I think it's just luck of the draw, right? Whether or not, like, maybe some people are, I don't really eat bananas, whether it's mashed or not mashed, you know, so then they skip that. Maybe like, I don't really care for potatoes. But the things that they really like are considered sins.
The sins, and
then they don't have that. And then the luck of the draw, they lose weight because of that, right? And I think one thing that's really important to keep in mind is that the people that are going to Weight Watchers, their desire is to lose weight.
Yeah.
So they're seeking it out. So they're going, at least some people are going to get some sort of success out of it.
Yeah.
Because they're actively trying. It's not like they're not trying, right? So,
like, can you imagine going to a coach and they say, right, you can eat as many potatoes or mashed up bananas as you want. Here's your meal plan, then this is just free.
But when it's like that, do you think people would abuse that?
I think people would.
But if that's you, if you're dying, right? But if you're...
No, I think
some people just like...
I think you give people an inch.
Even if you gave me loads of potato, I'm like, I'm not really that fussed. Like when people say they want to eat carbs, they don't really want to eat carbs. They want to fucking eat crap. Yeah. They want to eat pizza. They want to eat like junk.
Yeah, that's where then like being
that's
where then being like flexible dieting comes in, I guess, because it's like you can mash up that banana and add a little bit of like something else, and all of a sudden you got a protein pancake, but then you cover it with peanut butter.
And cut up the air fry the potatoes and chips.
Yeah. Yeah, but literally now all of a sudden you're eating unlimited chips.
Yeah.
So
but who is the one that made If It Fits Your Macros popular? Lane Norton?
I don't know. I always saw it, the Americans, and it all started with like the whole Pop-Tart hype.
It was, isn't it? I think it was like, Lane Norton, them lot.
I'm eating Pop-Tarts and I'm getting shredded. And it's like, well, that's cool. How do you do that? I want to know how to do that because I like Pop-Tarts.
I think that was back in 2010, 2014, something like that. I think that was when it started to...
My thing, first person I ever saw it from, again, was Matt Ogus.
Yeah, so he was part of that.
And Chris Lavada.
Alberto Nunez era kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Them guys were like, he was eating Chipotle every day and he was getting shredded. And I was like, hang on a second, there's Chipotle up the road for me.
Yeah. Maybe Chipotle's the secret.
I started eating Chipotle every day.
It got fat.
Yeah. Hang on a second, it's not working.
Yeah, Chipotle's the secret. But what? So yeah, I think, it was huge, man. Like I remember at the time when I was in Singapore, it was kind of like fresh there and loads of people were doing it. And people that I knew, friends, they were taking the food scales with them, right? Obviously tracking on MyFitnessPal if it fits your macros, but you still got to be accurate with it. You still got to weigh the food, right? So although it was flexible, it was still very, very restrictive because, you can eat whatever you want, but 20 grams of whatever you want. So then you're like, oh shit. Oh yes, I can eat 20 grams of gummies. And it's like 2 gummy bears.
Yeah, but I think that's where then obviously the lower you get down, it becomes a lot harder to do kind of the flexible dieting. But where the information now for restaurants and stuff is so easily available, it's like it also like I remember it become like a game.
What can I squeeze?
It was like, how much shit can I eat in a day? Still feel full up.
Yeah.
And then still lose weight. And it would always be like, how much cereal can I eat? Or like, Pop-Tarts. Yeah, or be like, oh, hang on a second, I'm not going to eat any carbs all day. And then at 7 o'clock at night, I'm going to have like a pizza.
Yeah.
Like, because I've saved that many calories. And like, whether that's the best option or not, like, yes, it's probably not. But at the same time, it's satisfying to know that you're on a diet, you're eating a pizza for dinner, and you're losing weight.
I think at that time, everyone went from really restrictive bodybuilding diets where it was like, I have to eat chicken, broccoli, rice to lose. I remember I was doing that for years where I was just smashing that, right? And, I gained a really great physique from that. But at the same time, it was so restrictive, right? And then you flip over and this whole new thing of if it fits your macros comes in, you're like, ooh.
But I think that brought it to more mainstream. the more people are like, oh, hang on a second, I can
diet.
I can
This
diet.
is good. This is easy.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go full circle and you start to take the piss with it. So you're kind of like weighing your foods, and because the whole reason what you're trying to get out of flexible diet is to be flexible, but you're still living in that restrained mindset of, I need to take my scales out with me. I need to weigh this food. So it was still very restrictive at the time. And as much as that was more flexible, it was still not fucking normal, right?
No, it's not normal. It's not. It is definitely not normal to be out and whack out a food scale at the table. But it's, if you're okay with that, and I was. I don't know if you ever did that.
Well, I did that, for sure. Because it seemed normal.
Yeah, then it's just like, well, fuck what other people think. Like, look at you. You're making no progress, and you're eating what you want, and you're fat. Look at me. I'm eating the same thing as you, and I'm losing weight. Like,
but that really helped me to realize, like, how shit it really is. Like, in terms of, you can eat whatever you want, but whatever you want is 20 grams of gummies or whatever, right? Let's say if you're doing that whole 80-20 thing, you sacrifice, and you got like fucking 100 calories left. Like,
but the only caveat to that for me would be like 20 grams of gummies a day over the course of the week is a whole bag.
Yeah.
But the whole week I've eaten a whole bag and I've still made progress.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know, for me it was always a bit like, this is still restricted. This is not how I want to eat it, if that makes sense.
No, but then the goal is always greater than that desire for you, isn't it? So
I think that's why it's now evolved that people don't really, like, if you're doing flexible diet, I think people don't really necessarily carry the scale. It's not so extreme. Right?
No, it's not. But I think that's because, though, if you're someone like I know myself, for example, I've done it for so long, you can just look at a plate and do quick math in your head.
But that took you
years
and time of
weighing,
eating the chicken breast and broccoli and just eating that, right, and being that restrictive. To then, and I think a lot of people are skipping that phase now.
They just want to go straight to the
flexible stuff, and it's like, but you haven't got the structure.
That's kind of what like I said, what I'm doing now. I'm having 3 square meals a day, just making sure they're not like excessive in any way. And I have 2 snacks, yogurt and protein shake or whatever before bed, and 1 in the morning. And that's it. But if I am on a particular day, if I'm feeling a little bit hungry,
but there's a lot of structure to that. And I think that's where
I still eat out a lot though, and things like that. So
there's still a structure to it, right? So let's say you do eat out, you're going to go somewhere that replaces that meal. But let's say for dinner you eat.
Not necessarily.
You don't have that?
No, because if you're going out with people, I'm not going to dictate where I'm not going to say, no, we have to go Nando's or we have to go Roosters.
But you're going somewhere to replace that meal, if that makes sense. So let's say today you're going to the Italian.
Well, I'm doing more calories. So like, I want a pizza. I know it's 800, 900 calories. So I'll make sure that I've banked that.
Yeah, so you're replacing that.
Yeah.
Whatever let's say your dinner is 500 calories, right? For example.
Taking it away from.
I want to have 800 calories. Well, that's going to be more than my dinner. It's going to be dinner and a snack.
So for dinner, it will just be protein. So I'll sacrifice the carbs from meal 3 and have them in meal 2.
But you obviously know enough to be able to juggle that in your head.
I'm juggling it.
Yeah, but you know enough, your numbers to be able to do that. And I think a lot of people don't know that.
But that's what
people do that daily.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's the problem. This is like one-off occasion. This may, I don't know, you might do this once a week or.
Yeah, no, there's got to be some level of. I think when I was younger, it would be more.
Almost daily, right? You're like,
it would be daily.
You're like, today I've done this, and then tomorrow you're like, I've got these meal prep, but then. I fucking fancy that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me see if I can.
Obviously, I think there's limitations to it. Like I remember before, like even trying to like go the whole day without eating carbs or fat because I want to have 5 Guys in the afternoon, like for dinner, for example. Which, you can do it. Just eating chicken breasts and protein shakes throughout the day when you're hungry.
Do you think that then changes your physique?
In what way?
So, obviously, if you do that, are you sticking to macros? You're just kind of you're sticking to more calories. Like you're saying, you're doing flexible dieting in terms of you're sticking to the calories.
If I was dieting like to compete, I would do it off macros, and I would be more like
aware of those
around that. Whereas like now, I do more
calories
and just make sure protein's high. But if I notice like a knock-on effect where it's been like a couple of days where I've had high fat the last 2 days and my carbs have actually been like quite low. Like some days I'll have less than like 150 grams of carbs just because that's just what it warrants. Like, I'm not that hungry. So if I'm not that hungry, then why am I forcing it? I'd rather bank them for like when I am feeling hungry and then I don't feel as bad. So I'm like, as I've got older, I'm kind of moving more towards calories and just making sure that protein's high, not being too fussed about carbs or fats. And I've been doing it now for like nearly 4 months. I've not noticed training performance wise is still great. Not noticed a drop off.
I think a lot of people tend to now do flexible calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Is like, because when we used to do if it fits your macros, is like you'd have a set macros, but your protein was still a certain amount.
Yeah.
So you'd have to make sure that you hit that. So no matter what you're eating, right, you still have to eat within those requirements, right?
What do you think is the easiest macro to hit?
Fat, really.
I think protein.
Because if you just eat shit, your fat's just going to blow over, right?
Yeah, but I just think protein's just the easiest one to hit all the time.
I think, protein, because you're always thinking about protein, right?
Yeah.
For most people, probably is one of the hardest things that you can hit.
Just because they don't want to eat it.
It's because they don't think. Then a lot of people don't eat meat like in that way, right? You don't structure your meal. If you don't structure your meal around protein, if you don't structure your calories around the macronutrient of protein, you're not going to hit that.
Yeah.
You have to strategically have a meal to hit your protein. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. Let's say if you need to hit 200 grams of protein, how are you going to make that happen?
Well, for years now, I always have 2 scoops in the morning.
Yeah.
2 scoops.
That's how people do it.
I've been doing that for years. And I know my goal is 200 grams or whatever. I know every day I'm 8 grams done.
Yeah.
So I've only really got to hit 120.
Yeah. But a lot of people, they'll do the whole shake thing in order to hit the calorie or hit the protein, right? And then because it's low in calories, it's like then I can use all that to hit.
Or people just have like, they're like, oh, my protein must be high because I've had a shake. I've had 2 scoops today, so my protein must be high. And it's like, we've only had a shake and 1 chicken breast, and now you're having like tomato pasta
on its own.
Yeah, on its own.
Or jam sandwich. Yeah, I think the no structure is really a massive one. Like, just because you're having flexible dieting, it doesn't mean that you have no structure to your meal. There still needs to be.
I think if anything, if you're doing flexible dieting, you have to think about it more.
Yeah, it's not really that flexible.
Or like, so if I know that I want to eat whatever, what I would do is I'd put it in either in the morning or the night before, and then work around it for the rest of the day, knowing that I banked that meal.
Yeah. For me, flexible dieting is more, instead of having chicken and rice and broccoli, I'm having maybe salmon, potatoes, and vegetables. You know what I mean? It's just like it's the same thing, but it's slightly different. That's flexible. But I think a lot of people see it as, oh, instead of chicken, rice, and broccoli, I'm going to have a pizza.
Yeah.
That's how regular people kind of do it.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. So if you keep doing that, your physique will change. Like, you're not gonna be hitting your protein intake. You're just looking at purely from a calories in standpoint.
Well, no, because then if you're trying to top up your protein after that, then you're going to be in a surplus. So it's definitely something that I wouldn't jump into right away if I was just starting out.
There is some nuances with it, right?
There's a lot of trial and error as well.
Yeah, and I think at some point you can't eat whatever you want and lose weight. Like, if you're a small person, especially females, like, your calories aren't that high.
Yeah.
If or when you're low in terms of your deficit, your calories are low. Like, you just can't afford to eat. You have to eat a certain way. There's a reason why bodybuilders eat a certain way. It's because when your calories get low, you're kind of forced to eat in that way to feel satiety, to even just to survive. If you're on, let's say, 1,500 calories or less, right? Not uncommon. 1,200 calories or something. How the fuck are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Eating a Pop-Tart, like, you're going to be
waste.
Starving.
It's just a waste. If half your intake goes on 2 Pop-Tarts, which are like 4 bites each,
you're done. Or let's say if you go out, like, your pizza's 800 calories. What the fuck are you going to do the rest of the day?
And that's like a small, thin pizza. If you're having a Domino's, 2,000.
Yeah. So you're done for the day. So
you're done for the next 2 days.
At some point, you just cannot. The way that you structure your diet and your meals, it ends up having to be very
rigid,
similar.
And structured, and
exactly
boring. Even though you're picking what you want in them.
Yeah, That
Your-
is
your
as far
choices
as it
are
goes.
narrow.
It's like if you don't like chicken, you can have this other meats that you want to have.
Turkey.
If you don't want to eat, carrots, you can eat some other vegetables. You don't have rice, you can have potatoes, you can have oatmeal. But it's not like, oh, if you want to have that, you can have. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have. People just write down in their Instagram bio or something to say, hey, lose weight and eat whatever you want. But what if whatever I want to eat is fucking pizza, two pizzas or a large Domino's pizza every single week?
Your output's going to have to be crazy. Unrealistic.
It's not going to work, is it? And I think that is, it's just so misleading. And I think that is the problem that a lot of people get. And I think a lot of coaches, they fuck themselves up by saying you can eat whatever you
If
want.
they can't deliver it.
Yeah, because
or then you're like,
people have this unrealistic expectation of what they can eat.
You told me I can eat what I want. And now you're saying, actually, I can't.
There is some limitation of what
that's it.
want.
I'm going to Weight Watchers because zero sins.
Yeah. And I think if you actually clear that up, there should be much more context. You can eat whatever you want, but in a very, very small portion and it's calorie controlled.
Yeah.
And
you have to weigh it all out. You have to be really accurate. You can only do it once.
When your calories get too low, it's not happening either.
Yeah.
Like that is a big problem. And I think that's where the adherence comes from, right? You're always running a losing battle if you're bringing in people that want to do that, or they have this expectation of what it's going to look like. And then it doesn't really
happen.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden you got no clients, business is done.
Yeah. But people are eating whatever they like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, overall, I think there is obviously pros to having that stricter dieting approach. But yeah, I think, like we said, having that blend of the two, you should have some structure and you should be eating, I would say, mainly the same foods every single day. Like, and just having some sort of like food rotation where, okay, if these are my meals that I'm having each day, like you were saying, like protein shake, but if I don't have this protein shake, what can I have instead? So you might have 3 iterations of that. Or, my main meal that I usually have is chicken, rice, broccoli. What can I have that's going to be same calories, roughly same macros,
Yeah, what's going to be similar?
And I have a couple of iterations of that and I can just rotate that. Because really and truly, how many different things that you're going to have? A lot of people say, what's a common thing that people say? They say, it's boring. The meals are boring. I want to eat something else. But it's like, what do you actually want to eat? Yeah. Like,
well, actually, being in a calorie deficit is a bit boring.
It needs to be in some degree. You need to eat very similar things on a consistent basis. Yes, you can have some rotation, but it's not going to be
what you want.
Exactly what you want. Yeah. I think a lot of people, they use that scapegoat of saying, this is boring, when really what they're saying is, I just want to eat a bit of shit.
Yeah.
And
can you tell me I can eat a bit of shit? So then I don't feel as bad about it.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, well, no, you can't.
It's like when you get them clients, it's like, so when can I have a cheat day?
Yeah, cheat day.
I'm like, what?
You've had a cheat day for 30 years of your life. You're
just one big cheat.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason why you're here in the first place, is so that you could stop having that.
Yeah, but it is a bit like, when they are a bit like, so when is it happening? It's like, it's been a week.
Yeah.
You haven't even finished the week actually, and you're asking.
Yeah. That's not good.
No. It's not.
What do you tell people if they said that to you?
Be honest, isn't it? And say not now.
So when?
No, but I get like for some people that I've worked with, this like they want to have something to work towards.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, if we hit 3 kilos off in the next 3 weeks, whatever,
and 3 mil,
then yeah, because for some people they do need that, like that they're working
carrot at the end of the stick
to work towards, because most people aren't robots.
Yeah.
They do need to have something to like look forward to. I guess I've used that as kind of a motivation thing as well. But then I guess if they have a long-term goal where it's I want to be in shape for a wedding or a holiday or something, it's like, well, no, because otherwise you're going to fall off and you're not going to be in the position that you want to be in. And then all of a sudden, is it worth it for 10 minutes of a pizza?
It's really hard because you almost have to put in all these rules and boundaries, because you just know that you give people an inch and
it's like
you take so much more.
You have to be the bad guy. But then at the end of the day, it's like, well, if you want me just to be a yes man.
It's very hard because you don't want to have limitations and set these boundaries, but you have to. Because if you don't, people go nuts. It's like, I'm sure you don't want to tell your kid that they can't do this or can't do that, but you just let them do whatever they
just
want.
let them live their life.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And they're going to
Be
go crazy.
chaos. That's why everything has rules and boundaries, and this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might.
But the narrative is so different now, right? In the fitness industry, like with nutrition. You don't feel like people are like, don't be restrictive.
Yeah, but I think that's because people
that.
don't understand nutrition. So you're getting these people that trying to. This is what it comes back to. Should you have qualifications to be an online coach? Because you just got people talking rubbish the whole time.
Yeah.
And if you've got a following or you've got your pro card in your bio, people are going to listen to you. But actually,
you need to set these boundaries.
You haven't got a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, I just see it. People get you don't get any results because you don't set any boundaries.
Yeah.
Like there has to be rules.
Well, there has to be, because otherwise, what are they coming to you for? They can eat shit on their own. They don't need to be.
They don't need you to tell them
that they that give you permission. They've been doing it for however long without any permission.
That's it. So yeah, there you have it, folks. You can have your cake and eat it too, but just maybe not the whole cake in one sitting, right? So if you enjoyed this episode, feel free to leave a review on iTunes and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Gym with Him, and you can find my co-host at Archie13 with 2 E's. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.